Check. 1, 2. Good. This episode of the Rainbow Brainskull podcast is brought to you by the Infinite Elephants Kickstarter page. If you go to rainbowbrainskull.com and click on the Infinite Elephants banner, you can help me raise money to make a book. My first guest ever is Zach Sherwin. Hit it! Welcome to the Rainbow Brainskull Hour. You're gonna have a good real time today. Every week there's a new guest, so that you'll learn something new. 'Cause that's all that we're here to do.
Sketchbooks?
Yes. Not right now, though.
Okay.
Maybe afterwards.
Okay.
Or you can during. I don't know what's in it. I'm just hoping that my racist manifestos aren't in that specific book, but they're in one of the books in this. The one before I shoot up a whole. No, I won't even joke about that. It doesn't start yet. All right, Zach Sherwin.
Hi, Ramin.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm great.
Did you know that you are my first podcast guest? And not only that, but you're also my first other podcast guest that a year ago I taped an episode with you, and I don't know where the episode is. And if I find it, I think it's going to be too out of date because it's before the election and before a lot of news events. So like we might just be speaking of nothing of relevance, but I don't think it's current. So I might still be able to dig it up and find it somewhere. But yeah, I never got around to adding it because that's how I run my life. I post some stuff, but a lot of projects never see the light of day. And I really want this one to see the light of day. I really want to have a stamps.com sponsorship and Audible and BarkBox and anyone else. I love podcasts and I want to do ads for them one day, and I just think it sounds great. So this one definitely is going up. So welcome back as the first guest. You feeling good about it?
I am. I didn't know I was the first guest last time, and was that really only a year ago?
It might have been more. It might have been 2015 or something.
It feels like we've been friends forever, but ours is one of those friendships that I don't really know when it started. I just knew who you were, and then sometimes I saw you around, and then before you know it, we're friends.
I think our first interaction ever was our friend Mike Kaplan showed you After You Die, and you wrote an email about it to me saying that you liked it, and then I looked up your stuff, and I liked it, and then we saw each other at Punchline Punch Out. And then I introduced myself as I'm the guy from the thing because you'd never put a face to me before. But then that was our first interaction, and the rest of it is a complete blur. I don't remember when
what
I
the
can't put anyone
moments
in.
Were.
Yeah.
I like the people behind Punchline Punch Out so much.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic. Their names are Andy Erickson and
Amber Preston.
Amber Preston. Oh, that's really bad that I had to wait a second, and Andy Erickson was the first one, and Amber I had to wait a little bit. It shows favoritism or something when I have no favoritism.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm not going to, that's the thing with this podcast, I'm not going to edit out any of the stuff. So I'm also not going to put you on the spot. Zach and I have been friends for a long time, so occasionally I speak directly to the audience like I'm doing right now when I say the word Zach, because I'm not a car salesman. You know, it's like, well, let me tell you something, Zach. You're going to really want to get inside of this. I think it's just awful when people call someone by their first or any name other than if you're trying to get their attention. Like say, hey, Zach, did you want a beer? Then that's good. But if it's like I was telling you, Zach, you really need to pay attention to these things. Like, don't you find that annoying as all?
I bet I could give you a counterexample that you'd be okay with.
Go for it. That's what I love, friction.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing I think Ramin hates. How do you feel about that? Does it rub you the wrong way?
Well, if you were saying it to just me and this wasn't being
to
taped.
you. If I were just like...
Well, that's different because I'd think you were being funny, though.
Okay, like a little tongue-in-cheek?
Yeah.
Not just saying that.
Yeah, would you ever say it like as... in middle of a conversation, throw in the name there and touch their shoulder like you're trying to sell them something?
Yeah, and it's also different because, you know, the use mention, like, distinction?
What's that?
Like, if I say, the difference between saying, like, you're a piece of shit and I got in trouble because I used the word shit in class.
Oh.
The first one is use. The second one is mention. You can put it in quotes.
Use mention?
Use/mention.
Okay. Oh, no, that makes sense now that I put it together in that terms. But
so you're saying that calling you Ramin as a use thing is unacceptable. Like if I were like, when I think of my friend, this is me talking directly to you. If I'm like, when I think about you, I'm like, Ramin probably wouldn't mind if I, that kind of thing. You're okay with that?
Yeah. And
Right.
to just clarify everything, I'm okay with all of it.
I know,
I'm
but-
not one of those people that's, I hate the word moist.
Right.
Like, I hate certain
Nostril.
words. I think all words, that's fine, unless you're like, racial slurring people. Then
Yes.
you shouldn't be that if it's harming people. But just normal words, like, I just hate the word, the sound of it type of thing. I never got on board with that. But it is funny.
Yes, and it's funny to obsess over minutia. I would say people who say that they hate the word moist and nostril. Interesting how similar those words are, right? Moist and nost. They could be a lot more different from each other.
Yeah.
I actually think really it means that it's like drawing a strong reaction from you, which I feel like that's kind of is doing a good job as a word.
Which one, moist?
Yeah, even if you quote unquote don't like it, it is provoking a strong response, and that's good.
You know what a great word is? Visceral. It sounds just like what it is.
Do you think that's true, independent of
Not at all.
its meaning that you
I haven't
know?
studied at all. I'm pure conjecture. I build what I think Google says, and Google's not even true, but I imagine searching what Google says and then taking that.
Do you know that concept that like there'll be those like sound meaning groupings, like a cloud of meaning? Like here are all words about light, right? Glow, glisten, glimmer, gleam. I'll stop there. I feel like
No, actually, I was really impressed that you had all those, and it's like I don't know if my brain is making them
glint.
have
There's
the-
another one.
Glint, not so much.
No, it's like light glinting off the surface of the ocean.
It sounds like a light one then. Or no, I didn't mean to make that pun, but yeah, it sounds like a
More tenuous connection.
That's I don't think that when you say light, and I didn't mean light in that way, I don't think that words with the same sound ever have different meanings. I think that in referring to it is of not a lot of weight and saying light, you're saying because light doesn't have weight. I think that's why the word is like that. I think there's no case where that's not true. Except for exceptional cases, I have to always clarify everything. Everything that I can get in trouble for, I have to clarify first, so
No one's
that I
gonna
can't
get
get in
you.
trouble. I have to clarify I can't get in trouble ever, and now it's okay to say anything because I clarified already that
You're
I
a step
can't.
ahead of them, right?
Yeah,
Use, mention, name. Oh yeah. So I really like Andy and Amber so much. And also, compartmentalized from that, I often agree to do shows like that show where I have to write material just for the show. And then I always, when I sit down to write it, I probably, in an ideal world, I would adjust my attitude so that I experience it joyfully. But there's always part of me that's like, oh, I'm writing jokes that I'm just going to use this one time and I'm never going to be able to use them again because it's so specific.
or two times because you do have a show occasionally called Unusable,
Yes,
where
well-
people revive the dead of these jokes that
Yeah.
were made for just this one.
Very tailor-made
purpose.
material that you can't use anywhere. And I only did it once, and I think I'm only going to do it once, which is ironically, like, it itself is a meta unusable, like the show that you can't do anywhere else because it just was that. But anyways, you were on the only time it ever is going to exist.
Unusable?
Yeah.
That actually is fitting for a show of that concept
Right?
to only do it once.
Yeah.
Did you plan on that?
No, but after I did it, I was like, this is a cool idea, but I do not feel passionately about it.
I love that it's only one.
Yeah.
There's a couple of podcasts that I like that it might only be one, but just has one episode. It's just one 3-hour episode, and then it's done. I thought about doing that with this one a while back. I wanted to just try to get Seinfeld through some trickery,
yeah.
get him. Like, it's impossible, but just if I were, and then make that be the only episode. Back
Yeah.
when I thought that was funny, I don't think it's that funny now. Isn't that embarrassing how many ideas we think are just golden and then we don't execute and then look back on a year later and think, thank God I didn't execute that. That's dumb.
Last night I was out with some friends and I said something that I thought was going to like destroy the room, and I said it and everyone was like,
That's worse than dead silence.
and That's like a real-time, like telescoped version of what you're talking about, where you have a great idea and you're like, I'm going to pour my resources into that. And then you don't, and you're like, oh, it's fine.
There was a art history class where we were studying the works of Raphael, and the teacher asked, like, Raphael was very unpopular in this year, towards this year. Does anyone know why? And then I said in a big auditorium, because he's cool but rude. And it didn't get anything. It was dead silence. And I thought it was so funny, but I guess there wasn't. It was either too cheesy or people didn't know I was referencing the Ninja Turtles song where Raphael is cool but rude. Give me a break. Michelangelo is a party dude. Hit me! Or whatever he says. I don't think he says hit me.
I don't know what he says.
But
I'll assure you that I knew the reference. Maybe some people knew and got it, but were too scared to laugh because they didn't see the bold leaders laughing.
Did you have Ninja Turtles growing up?
Oh, yeah.
The toys?
Yeah.
Which ones did you have? That's an odd question. Like, which matter did you own when you were a younger hominid, when you weren't fully grown? Which pieces of matter did you use to fantasize about other scenarios occurring that are not of this world?
I don't remember. I always liked Donatello because he was like the nerdy one. And I had Bebop and Rocksteady toys.
So you were proud of nerdhood at an early age? Like,
I don't know if I was
stuff.
proud, but I knew that Donatello was the one that I was the most like.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you do good in school?
Yeah.
Very good?
Yeah.
Straight A's all the way?
I got a B in chemistry in high school. And other than that...
Chemistry, they try to trick you. They give you multiple choice questions where it's... off by just where the decimal point is. So even if you're good at figuring out what the thing is, if you slip, then it blows up. But I guess that's good because they're trying to teach you that it could be like the Challenger if you miss a decimal point, or I forget why the Challenger blew up, if it was metric to English, or if it was just they used the wrong tinfoil. I don't know.
Right.
I could find it out, but it's just much more fun to not find it out.
Agreed.
And keep the conversation going. I really wanted... It already is a fantastic podcast. I just want it to be a good...
Sure.
You know how you listen to some episodes and you're like, you can't wait... Like, if you're listening it to your car, you can't wait to get from your car back into where you're inside to have headphones to keep the conversation going. And then there's some, like WTF episodes where it's like some writer from the 80s and they're just a bore, which this will probably surface someday as me talking shit, living to an attorney, like, which writer is he talking about? Is he talking about this one? He could only be talking about 80 people. That's all these 80 people aren't going to like him anymore. But that's kind of good. That's kind of how I am at this point. But maybe you'll get to see me evolve throughout the years of this podcast that there will be more than one episode of.
What's it called?
I think it's just going to be the Rainbow Brainskull Hour or just the Rainbow Brainskull Show.
Good.
And I had thought about...
Rainbow Brainskull Podcast?
Maybe.
Okay.
Audio experience, like Hendrix, but
I like that a lot.
Yeah, but I mean that's taken a lot. But people taking it are just imitating Hendrix, and there's nothing wrong with imitating Hendrix. Hendrix loved covering people too.
That's right.
Yeah, he's one. If I haven't mentioned him 100,000 times, that's clearly one of my big guys.
Was he? Did he stylize the spelling of his last name so that it ended in an X, or was that what he was born with?
Nope, born with it.
Okay.
Maybe it's Maybelline. No, it's not Maybelline. He's born with it. He's fantastic. We're living in a great time because growing up, I only knew, like, the hits, Purple Haze and Wind Cries Mary and stuff. And it wasn't until streaming services got big that I could find obscure live things where you hear the rawness of it and how he tunes in between each song and the banter. And he's just the most laid back guy ever. And
you named a couple great Hendrix hits, but probably my favorite song of his is the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh yeah, because it's imitating like war.
That was really interesting. I was like, I've got a joke queued up, and the joke will be that Jimi Hendrix wrote the song "The Star Spangled Banner." Like, I don't know the national
and I'm taking
anthem.
it all seriously.
But that was no. It was a cool but rude moment.
Yeah, because people think it's just hearing it. It's he's just messing around on feedback and guitar. But if you listen to it, it sounds like planes and bombs and just like it's very cool. Putting the national anthem over that, and especially at the time with the war protest stuff, much significance. And in liking that, I am cultured and good. But yeah,
you've proven that they won't get you.
No, the writers won't get me. You won't get me. The listener won't get me. This could be listened to by millions of people, or it could be listened to zero. It's such a in between thing.
Exciting.
Probably much closer to the zero at first, but I kind of like that. Otherwise, we'd feel too much pressure.
Yeah, it'll build.
And yeah, hope it speaks volumes that you get to be the first guest twice.
I'm really honored.
Yeah, isn't it cool? It shows
really
that I'm
cool.
comfortable with you, and
It
that I
does.
know that we can talk minutia, such as words, or the basis of the universe, such as, do you believe that consciousness is fundamental, or that consciousness is just something that, a side effect of neurons?
Right. Oh, was that a rhetorical question?
No, it's a question.
You're
question.
asking. You're
Yeah.
posing it.
I think I know what I think. I think I know what you think, but I think it just makes for interesting banter.
I kind of think both. Is that possible?
That is possible. Maybe the brain is a tool which helps us hold more concepts, but consciousness at a very fundamental level is more. But I don't know. Who knows? I'm a monkey with stupid mush in my head trying to make sense of what's in front of me.
It's very hard to say.
Yeah.
You're using the thing to describe the thing.
Do you know what I'm actually trying to do in saying that? I'm trying, because we listen to stuff about consciousness and how we're, immortal and made of love and light, and we're here for a reason and all that kind of stuff, and it makes us feel good. So then we want to talk about it so that we can remember the good feeling we had when we learned things after it died off in our brain and triggered it again. So it's like we can revisit it, but sometimes when you're trying to explain it in words and with knowledge, facts, and things, it doesn't add up. It comes off as a silly argument.
Sure, or ranting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm no stranger to ranting.
And mad raving.
Raving, and is ranting only negative?
Great question. Ranting and raving. They both sound pretty bad to me.
I think they're the same thing, but ranting is negative and raving is positive.
To me, really?
Isn't it?
I don't think so. I think, like the critics raved?
Yeah, the critics raved about it. Or like, not to go on a rant here, but I think the city of Los Angeles needs to do something about the brr, 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 brr.
To me, raving has an element of madness to it. Like, you go crazy. I think that's right. Like raving mad. Stark raving mad.
Yeah, maybe it can be used for both.
Ranting is like at first, before you're so pissed off that you lose your mind, and then you eventually cross over into raving.
Upgrade.
Yeah.
Promotion. Ranting to rage to belligerence to...
There's another one.
To
Rant,
carnaging.
rage,
Rage.
rave, wrath,
Dave.
rave, death.
Rave death. Rave death. I don't know Rave Death or Dave Rath that well. I think I met him once.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he was. He cut his. Yeah, he was at the
Makes
taping
jokes.
with Mike's taping, right?
Yeah, he's often at
he
our
was-
mutual friend Mike Kaplan's taping
Yeah, he was
of a
at.
late night set. I'm bringing the listener up to speed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I wonder how many gaps I've left in this so far. His, yeah, he was at the taping of the James Corden. Good. Okay, Corden show, the Late Late Show with James Corden, and our friend Mike was taping a set, and Dave Rath, his manager, had cut his foot. Not his foot, his leg.
Oh.
Remember?
No.
And there was like 5 people that just jumped to like, I can go get you a Band-Aid. I can go get you a thing.
No.
And I felt like it was a little bit of, it was probably just people being nice, but I'm like, are you trying to impress the good manager guy?
The
Because he's
fancy
a,
manager.
yeah, is it because are you trying to impress the powerful guy? Which I would have, had I been quicker, I would have done the same. But I think I overrode that in my head. Also, I didn't think I would be able to find a Band-Aid.
Oh yeah, that's tough for you as a guest in that green room situation. A thing about Dave Rath is that his name is really close to an anagram of Darth Vader, and the only missing letters to make that a reality are a D and an R, which also happen to be his initials, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, you're missing the extras.
Yeah, if his name was spelled with 2 D's and 2 R's, then it would be a perfect Darth Vader.
Zach is a word magic magician. Have you noticed? I just caught myself doing this. Whenever I'm speaking to the audience, such as like when I'm describing you, I go and face the laptop.
Oh yeah,
I have to look at the laptop as if the audience is in there.
To the crowd.
Yeah, I miss crowds. I need to go perform more. I'm always torn between not doing enough of the things that I think I want to be doing. Like if I'm drawing and animating enough, then I'm not doing enough performance stuff, and then vice versa. The balance of that. But it's a stupid way of thinking, because we're lucky to be doing any of it. Like the fact that we have the opportunity to do these things, and we're not in a jail cell, and we're not in a hospital bed, and
that we're still alive.
Yeah, we have vocal cords that work and that don't just shriek every time we open it. We can control the modulation of it and go a little softer, or we can go loud. I'm not going to go that loud with it. We can go different things with it, and we have hands that can operate tools and stuff. It's a really good situation. It beats being like that lamp over there or the bookshelf. Like that would suck to be the bookshelf or the lamp or the light or that squirrel outside. It seems pretty mundane. So we've got a really good situation. It's just neuroses. Do you find yourself having those?
The squirrel would be okay, by the way.
Yeah, the squirrel is happy probably. Do you remember that Sarah Silverman special where the squirrels hide? They don't know where 90% of their nuts or acorns that they hide are.
I don't remember this.
Okay, it's a good one. Go check that out. Go check out stamps.com, Sarah Silverman Barkbox. Yeah.
What were you going to ask?
I was going to ask, do you feel like you're not doing enough in, like, do you give yourself neurosis about, oh, I'm not performing enough, or I'm not rapping enough, or I said that I would do more of blank, but I'm not doing more blank, whether it's spend time with friends, significant others, not working out enough, not blanking enough? Or is that...
At different times, I would have had different answers to this. But right now, I feel like...
Yeah, answer it in the now. It could change in an hour from now.
Yeah. Right now, I feel like I have a really, really good balance going.
That's good.
I'm not performing a ton, but it doesn't stress me out. And I'm writing a lot. And that's really fun. And no, I feel like social and health are all... Yeah, it feels pretty balanced.
That's good. I'm going to mirror you instead of the way I would have been naturally, which is neurosis
worried about
style.
It's hard. I mean, there's a lot to keep straight. Do you have a list of all the projects you're working on? I know a couple people who
but I have multiple. I never keep all the stuff in one place. I have planner, and then there's also stuff in Post-it notes and boxes, and there's also stuff in books, and there's also stuff in Google Drive, just depending on when I get the idea, and I never make one new world order with it. I always have separate nation states that are at war for attention.
And do you like that? Or do you wish it were more organized? Or both?
I mean, of course you'd wish to be more organized. I think I always find myself wishing that I was more something, but the truth of it is probably I wouldn't like that configuration if that's what I actually did. Sorry it's so hot in here, by the way. I'm just feeling it getting...
It's fine.
Getting real hot. Sorry, listeners and your listening pods.
You're so on top of your art that it's a little hard to believe that you're disorganized.
I think I just write off I don't count it, but I should count it.
Yes.
I should count it as being significant, but I don't count it because in my head I want other stuff, and I think it's just maybe I should finish reading that Sapiens book. Maybe that explains it. How...
Damn it, your art is all about... Go on.
Yeah, it's about not doing the thing, but then... Which I'm hoping that the podcast, it probably will end up being this, or it already is this, because... You can't help but sound like you or be a you, and in just putting out, whether you're putting out songs or drawings or poems or anything you do, if you cook, it's going to be you, like it's going to be coming through the filter of you. And as you start out, of course, it's going to be a little green and not be a defined thing, but you can't help but channel the you of it. So it's probably all going to center around it. And yeah, where's the end of that thought? Probably doesn't have one. Yeah, a lot of the thoughts don't have ends.
That's
Can you help me? Does it have an end?
Well...
Where was I going with that?
I was going to tell you that your art is all about, like, accepting oneself and that the story isn't over, and that, you know, like today it said, This is just the loading
Relax,
screen.
still loading screen, yeah.
Yeah, but also you're very like, oh, I want the other stuff that's not this. And it's so, like, the irony is incredible.
Because what the drawings are, the things I post on Instagram and Facebook, and I've said this to you before, but I haven't recorded on tape before, but I treated it like I'm a paper boy, where I just say, hello, Mr. Facebook, good morning, and I throw my newspaper to Mr. Facebook's door, to Miss Instagram's door, to
You haven't said this to me before.
Mrs.
I like it a lot.
Pinterest's door, to the stupid teenage kid Instagram's door, the stupider kids. No, actually, Reddit's kind of friendly, but
Twitter?
yeah, I use it to post what I'm going to do anyway. I don't really like to engage in what's trending, what joke can I make that's on the news today. I just don't see how that has value, and that someone else could also make that joke about whatever person is in the spotlight that day. And I think if you look back on it in a year, like if you just have Monica Lewinsky jokes or something, it's not going to be good, and you should actually express yourself in a way that's the actual you, not in contrast to what you don't want.
I looked through like all the tweets that Twitter would let me see without, I think, paying more money or something. I don't know how you get all your tweets ever, but I looked through like a couple years worth of tweets yesterday, like looking for something for a different project. And one, just to speak to the point we were just talking to, there's so many current event jokes that I made that I have to sort of like fight through a little bit or a lot of cloud to remember what I was talking about. And actually there's one where I just tweeted, this comedy club is playing the song Saturday Night. Mm-hmm. And I know that it was because it was a Friday when I tweeted it, so it's funny to me, but it definitely doesn't hold up as a tweet.
Oh, yeah, because it's just a thing you said while you're inside of a place.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, that's just on the evergreen tip. I kind of agree. If you have something to say, that's good.
Yeah, because I mean,
I have all these like anagrams up of like, remember that phase where like Trump was appointing all those cabinet positions in a row? So I have like anagrams of the name of the like undersecretary of the interior that were like big news that day, but like it definitely isn't a name I've ever heard again.
Yeah, but at the very least with that, you're getting your anagram practice in.
Yeah,
where
that's right.
You get in that mode. I think as you could treat it like it's freestyling, and freestyling you don't get to keep, but maybe you do sometimes. Maybe you come up with something in the spot, and then a year later you're like, oh yeah, I said that thing during the freestyle, and now it's been past the statute of limitations, and now I can use it in a...
It's kind of ironic. There were 2 tweets from yesterday where I tweeted things that I'd said in a freestyle that I thought were great. There was one where I rhymed zucchini blossoms with bikini bottoms. I can't believe that my mind did that.
It's good.
It's good. And then there was another one where I said something about time travel. I'm a sludge judge with a slime gavel. Doesn't make any sense, but it really...
But it's poetic, though.
Yeah, it's
poetic. It paints a picture, and it takes it to a place where if you Googled that, you probably wouldn't find it, whereas if you search time and lime or something, it's probably some stupid 7-Up rap or something.
Right.
From the early 90s. But
it probably is.
Rap is the coolest and uncoolest thing in the world
so
simultaneously, because it's used by...
The stakes are high. It's like if you get it right, then it's super cool. And if your tone is off, then...
Yeah, it's a tightrope walk for sure.
Yeesh. It's bad.
When did you first start recording raps? Asking when you started rhyming and doing that is a tough question, which you can answer that too, but when did you first start?
I do know, but I've been asked it before. Recording.
By me? No. I've asked it?
No.
Oh.
Not that I know of. I was 10.
Okay.
I moved in with a couple dudes at some point after college, and it was me and my friend Brendan, who was working at the time to become an artisanal chocolate maker.
Oh, nice.
So
did he do it? Did he make it?
He did for a while and then stopped.
What happened?
I don't know.
Okay, let's stay on the track.
Money. But there was always chocolate around our house, which was awesome, but also bad. Because I would come home and like eat a bunch of chocolate all the time.
But it was good?
Oh, it was like the best ingredients, and he was doing R&D with them.
Cool.
It was cool.
Would he get crazy with it? Is he trying to put all kinds of different flavors, or he just wanted to get the real plain?
No, I remember he was making, and not all of it was vegan, and I was a vegan at the time, so it was important, and still am, by the way. But I was then, too, Mitch Hedberg. And
the complete opposite. And you're, good for you things versus not good for you things. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
He's been resting in peace for a while. Like, if time moves at the same rate after we die and we go and do like astral plane stuff, he's been a resident of that astral plane for a long time.
Yeah, he's not as new
but
as he
that's
used
kind
to
of
be.
a cartoon way of looking at it. If time just goes normal and he's just hanging out as an invisible vapor that does stuff, it's probably something that I can't wrap my monkey brain around.
I think that's right.
But when I ask stuff like, I've probably said this before too to you, but not recorded because it's the only episode so far. But when people think that death is just nothingness, I always think that, life and death never meet, and that awareness cannot be aware of not being an awareness. So if you're not aware, then even if your awareness is shut off for 1 trillion years, 1 billion trillion years, trillion to the power of trillion to the power of nasty infinity, then it's still eventually going to call you back into play. And Matthew Broussard, our friend who's a comic and also loves mathematics to a fault, but also it's a very beautiful thing because it's like poetry, the stuff he'll write down and show you and how numbers relate to each other. He said
his name even starts with the syllable math.
Yeah, Matthew Broussard. Okay, I can't do much with those ones.
But Sard is the only troublesome one.
Yeah.
Math. You brew.
What if Sard is like some kind of trigonometry term or something? That'd work out good, some obscure one. But anyway,
for a sardine?
Sardine? Like if you have 8 sardines?
Pass some sards. Pass me a sard. Okay, go on.
Cosine sardine. He said that given that there's infinite time before now and there's going to be infinite time after now, the odds of you being in now at this moment are 0. Not close to 0, rounded to 0 because it's like too many, and then that it's actual 0, meaning not possible. So we are the information boundary transfer point between the infinitely big and the infinitely small.
Whoa.
That's what we are. So, just little stuff like that. I think that it's possible to die to people outside of you. You can, like, to the rest of the world, I can be dead. But as me, as a present experience witnesser, I don't see how that works. It's like a logical fallacy. But also it is a stupid monkey talking. So who knows how it actually plays out. But that's what I think. Another cool thing is, I watched this Timothy Leary documentary, and towards the end of his life, he and Ram Dass would have these discussions where he'd think that Ram Dass's thinking that consciousness is eternal is just his wanting something to go on after he dies. In other words, it's made up. And when he was on his deathbed, his last words were, "Why? Why?" And then followed by, "Why not? Why not?" And then he faded away.
Whoa.
So it's like he had some kind of dialogue with the source, with the energy of all things. And
do you know that thing? Is it true? Is it real that our brains get flooded with DMT right when we die? Mm-hmm. That is real?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't witnessed it firsthand, but if you do the research, that's what the actual people say.
Okay. I mean, maybe time just slows down to some sort of infinite perceptual crawl.
Yeah,
it's like relativity style. You just are, drawn. There's like an image from the Talmud of like a righteous person when they die, their soul is drawn from them like a hair from milk.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully that's how it goes.
Can you tell me that line where it's it's like the holiest place in blank is blank, and then holiest person? Do you have that off the dome, or you have to like look that up?
Yeah, I think I can dome it.
Okay, yeah.
So there's 4 holinesses that converge. The holiest, and this is a Hasidic teaching, and it appears in like a high holiday prayer book that I've encountered during my observances of the Jewish high holidays, and also it's quoted in a play called The Dybbuk, which I've never seen.
Dybbuk?
Dybbuk. It's a Yiddish word for like a supernatural beastie.
Cool.
Dybbuk. So it's like there's 4 holinesses that converge on Jerusalem. So Israel is the holiest place on. Okay, it's even farther. Okay, God made the holy world. The holiest part of the world is Israel. The holiest city in Israel is Jerusalem. The holiest place in Jerusalem is the temple, and the holiest part of the temple is like the inner sanctum, the holiest of holies, as it's called. There's the holiest of all the peoples on earth. The Jews are the holiest people. Of the Jews, the priests are the holiest tribe. Of the priests, the high priest is the holiest one. The holiest time of the year is like the whole year is holy, and then there's days, and then the holiest day is Yom Kippur, and then there's one more that I can't remember. But on Yom Kippur every year, the high priest would go into the inner sanctum, and it would be on Yom Kippur, the holiest day, and then whatever the 4th one is. And like all these 4 holinesses would all converge and come together to create this like supernova of holiness. And then I'm pretty sure that at the ending of it, he's like, that is all the time?
What do you mean that's all the time?
Like, it's not just
happening at that moment. It's happening continuously. Kind of like when they say the Big Bang is always happening. It's not an event that took place and then we're in now. It's just always there. I really like what's the saying? Nothing lasts, but nothing is lost. And I might have said this raving before. This isn't a rant. This is a raving. But we imagine we're taught in school, just to kind of make sense of things, that there's the sun, then the Earth goes around the sun, then the other planets follow these elliptical orbits, and we're kind of looking at this two-dimensional kind of little model where you make it with styrofoam balls or something. But that's not true, because the Earth the sun is moving. It's moving throughout the galaxy, and so the planets are following along, so it's more of this vortex kind of movement. And none of the sun, the planets, they never visit the same place twice. They're always in motion. It's not like, we were at this part of space-time last year. It's you're in a new place. So it's always going outwards, expanding forever, or who knows forever, but I think forever, unless it starts contracting. But let's say it keeps expanding outwards, and the galaxies are also moving, and the superclusters are also moving outwards. So everything is in motion till eventually you're going the speed of light. So you and I are already going at the speed of light. We don't witness it now because it's relative, but we're actually objectively from outside going at the speed of light. So every piece of us is like blinking in and out of existence, going into the vacuum, coming back out to the vacuum. So like in between every moment we're the vacuum self and then back into outside. So that's why meditation is getting to know your vacuum self. Have you gotten to know your vacuum self?
Wow.
And who knows, this is the reason why, but the fact that the Earth never visits the same point again is reason to think why perhaps we never get the same information over and over again. That's why there's evolution. If we were just in a circle going around, it'd be like a record where it keeps hitting the same thing, but in continuously always going out, we're generating new information. That's why there's evolution. Or that's my crackpot theory. I love crackpot theories, but it makes sense, like if I articulated it right, and if it goes back to another saying, if the truth can be told in a way in which it can be understood, it will be believed, because that's what truth is. If you understand how it's being presented and it's truth, then it's believed.
I have the 4th holiness.
Oh, what's the 4th holiness?
It's cool. It's an important one. It's of all the languages in the world, the holiest is Hebrew. Holier than all else in Hebrew is the language of the Torah. And in the Torah, the holiest part is the 10 Commandments. And in the 10 Commandments, the holiest word is the name of God. So once a year on Yom Kippur, the priest, that's the second. So Yom Kippur is time, the priest is the person, would go into the holiest place and pronounce the holiest word. And that was like, they would all come together. And then it ends with, every spot where a person raises their eyes to God is the holiest place. Every person, having been created by God, is the high priest. Every day of our life is the holiest day. And every word that a person speaks with truth is God's name.
Oh, that's like the positive twist at the end of it.
Well, here's literally the ending of it. Therefore, every sin and every wrong that a man commits brings the destruction of the world.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter if you can speak the word of God if you're doing it in...
Yeah.
It's that saying of, I don't know, it's in some movie, but the person says, like, because the devil is real in that movie, it has like Lucifer in it or something, and they say that I'm not scared if the devil's real, that means that God is real. And that kind of makes sense, because if there is such a thing, then of course the creator guy is going to win. It's not going to be the fallen angel guy that wins it.
That's
Wouldn't
great.
you put if you're infinitely, the infinite source can put a back door and stuff like, oh, I was only letting you access 0.000001 of me. You destroyed that part, but I'm actually fail safe behind.
Right.
That, and also you can't kill it if you tried, or you can. I can pretend to be gone for trillions of years because I'm everything.
This is like here's like a dark kind of violent concept, but it applies to this.
Just
I'll
killing
link it back.
children for fun.
Mike Tyson said a thing that I think about a lot, which is referring to his opponents in the boxing ring.
Are you going to say it in the voice?
No.
Okay.
I'm definitely not.
Can I repeat it in the voice?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure. He said, someone said to him, like, about some opponent, like, he's saying he's got a plan, to beat you. At a press conference, Tyson goes, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the face.
I remember that, and I'm not going to do the voice because I don't think I don't remember it. It's just going to sound like, let's just, I love bad accents, so I'm just going to go for it.
Okay, go for it.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
That had something to it.
Yeah, it's high voice and lisp, but that's one of those hacky voices. Everyone has a Schwarzenegger, a Walken, a Tyson, a Jack Nicholson.
Ira Glass.
Is there Ira Glass now? There's a lot of Ira Glasses.
I mean, in the circles I run in.
Oh, we run in good circles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we run into the really chill, good people circles, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I like our circles.
Me too.
But my application to it about this God concept, God, the devil, especially the devil, doesn't make sense to me. But
and there is no devil or hell in Judaism.
There is a figure name. I mean, the word Satan is derived from the Hebrew word Satan, who is a figure in Judaism, and there is even an analog of hell in Judaism.
What does Satan do?
Satan is like it's a legal metaphor. He's like an adversary an angel who, or I don't know if he's an angel. He's not an angel. He's like some sort of supernatural figure who like bears testimony against people. So if you act in a particular way, it's like giving the Satan evidence for the case that he's compiling against you.
Oh, so it's not a red person with horns and a tail and a pitchfork.
Right.
I love how the cartoon idea eventually just overtakes people's consciousness. Of course, it's the one that came first and that's describing a more abstract concept. But keep going. So,
and hell, there's a concept of a place called Gehinnom in Hebrew that is like a hella-ish place. But it isn't permanent, and you get out of it, according to the,
the stuff you do.
The legends.
Parole, yeah.
Yeah. But, so I feel like with the God stuff, it's almost like you can theorize and take drugs and meditate and learn about religious traditions and try to find all these, like, answers to it. And it seems some of them seem like they have some glimpse, like a quick little glimpse. There's another light word, like a little glint, some element, like a thin thread of truth in all the noise.
Yeah.
But don't you feel like it's going to be like you think you know what it is till you get punched in the face and you're actually staring at it?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's what it's going to be. And same with like being concerned about the devil beating God. That's not to say that terrible things don't happen in like life all the time, but in terms of what's happening after, I mean, who could presume to have the whole story.
No one does. It's just like that image of, the cylinder with two flashlights shining on it, and when you shine on the cylinder from one side, you see a circle shadow on the wall, and then from the other side, you see a square shadow because the length of the cylinder without facing the circle part looks like a square. And especially if we're just limited to three-dimensional, hominid bodies with our neurochemistry and stuck in the forward-flowing casuistry of time. Like, there's no way we could get the whole picture, because even the speed of light, like we say the speed of light is c, and it's whatever I forget the number of, it's very fast. It's the fastest thing, but we've only measured the speed of light the last 80 years or so we don't know if it changes, and it's a thing that has a dynamic to it. We just say that it's a constant. It probably is just the frame refresh rate of the universe, which is with the whole going to when I was saying that we're all going at light speed eventually because of all the motion everywhere, and they say it's multiverse. Maybe there's universes that are also in motion. They probably have lots of space in between each other, because even like a diamond molecule, like the distance between two atoms of a diamond molecule, the densest molecule, it's still like 2 football fields. So there's always just huge amounts of space in between anything we call matter. So there's probably space between those. But point of that is that we're not actually moving, but it's like refreshing itself like a TV does. The characters on a TV don't actually move. It paints itself, repaints itself, which is why that technically we could do anything if we understood it. We wouldn't have to move, from A to B to C to D. We could move from A to Z or A to X. But this is coming from someone who not only hasn't done that, but also I haven't even witnessed supernatural stuff before, yet I still say like, it could happen, because, we give Elon Musk and people like that credit for saying that, it's the universe is a simulation. And then we go, yeah, he's right, it's a simulation. But then if someone says they've seen aliens or ghosts, it's like, that person's crazy. It's like, which one is it? Is it a simulation with crazy stuff in it, or is it not? Which one is it?
That's funny.
Yeah.
I just remembered that you asked me about the first time I recorded rap vocals.
At age 10.
That was when I started rapping. And then I moved in with the chocolate maker. Remember him? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the other guy we lived with...
Or from your description, I don't know him. But
yeah, that's right. The other guy we lived with was a DJ, a beat maker, and a musician. And one day I shyly went to his room and I was like, do you have any beats that you would let me write to? And he was like, tons. And he just gave me a CD, and I like wrote an album to it.
Hell yeah.
Sort of.
Okay, it didn't actually become one?
No, I wrote, I think, songs to 7 of like the 12 beats on the CD that he gave me. And then I recorded 5 or 6 of them, and that was like my first EP. And I was like 25 or 26.
Cool.
Like that.
Which EP would that be, so the listeners can go stream it?
Well, he and I were a duo that we called...
MC Mr. Napkins and blank blank?
Not yet. We were the Beta Males, anticipating Kumail Nanjiani's album title by many years.
That wasn't coined yet and used a lot yet, was it?
No.
Because alpha male, the funniness of it is that because alpha male was a thing,
right,
and then... saying beta male was kind of like the joke one of it, but also being the anti like aggro person. But then it eventually became like used everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know who. It happens slowly. I just remember that Kumail's album was one of the things that used that. But.
Right. So yeah, I think that came out in like 2006, I would say, and came out means that I like. Had a couple hundred copies of it printed up.
That counts.
And I sold it at shows for a long time, and it was cool. It was called the 7 Spiders EP.
Do you still have it?
I have one copy, and it exists in digital form.
Right on.
In ways that I have access to.
Oh, you don't own any of the physicals?
I own one physical.
Do you keep the stuff? I'm bad about keeping my first.
I like not keeping this stuff.
I like the After You Die book. I don't own any of the first ones. And the first ones don't have a black inside cover. They have a white inside cover. So perhaps if I'm dead and it's worth a lot of money or something, maybe.
I hope that happens.
It probably won't be because we're going to move to a non-physical world. And I think overnight, if it hasn't happened yet, baseball cards, coins, comic books, all of its value is going to plummet to zero. But have no fear, because we'll probably, hopefully, not be on a currency-based system by then, which is how our body operates, which if we're going to become the next thing or perish, I think we're going to become the next thing. But
have you read his other book? My mic is resting on a book by an author named Harari. And his next, do you know what his next book is?
What's his next book?
This book is called Sapiens, and it's like a look back at humankind and how we got to this point.
Oh, it's
and
the future version?
His next book is called Homo Deus, and it's about like how we're going to become this species of like godlike humans, but that it's not going to be, it's not like a rosy, like we're all going to be flying around and be, it's so cool. I'll just say it real quick. The concept of the book, and I'm not spoiling anything, this is laid out in the first section of it. All of human history, the big three problems staring us in the face have been famine, war, and plague. Like, those were the big threats. And now those things still all exist, but if you think about it, none of them is going to be what takes us out. You know? Like, there's still AIDS epidemics in Africa, but there's medicine for it. It's just, like, politically, the will and the resources and the money aren't there. So he's like, okay, so they still exist, but they're manageable, and they're not extinction-level threats to humanity. So what will we turn our attention to next? And then the rest of the book is him talking about what he thinks we're going to busy ourselves, the next projects we're going to undertake now that we've fought those three to a standstill.
That's right up my alley. So this is out yet, or it's going to come
out?
It's already out? Have you read it?
Yeah, I read it.
That's awesome. And it's kind of split down the middle, not pure optimist, not pure pessimist.
Oh, it's not. I mean, it's disturbing. Like, there's a lot about like the great ecological damage that we're doing. It's the only nonfiction book actually I can remember that made me feel, that I can remember reading that made me feel strong emotions. I'm often very interested in nonfiction books, but like novels make me like emotional. But this book, reading it, made me feel like difficult, challenging emotions at the end of it.
Yeah, that I can see that.
I was like, why is nobody talking and thinking about this more? How much did this book change things?
We'd rather just look at what's happening. We'd rather look at Kardashians and what's trending. And I know it's cliche to be like, oh, the world only cares about football and Kardashians. They don't invest time in science. But it doesn't have to be boring, stupid formulas by powdered wig guys that we just adhere to blindly. It can be fun, like nonstop asking why in the face of tenure professors that say, well, because that's my theory and I get, grants because of it. And I'm sure there's not all people like that, but there surely are a lot of people in power positions of the knowledge priesthood that are fighting to keep their idea alive because it's theirs rather than because it's the truth. Like if you came up with a theory and you made your whole career on it, and then a day comes where that's not true anymore, there's going to be a lot of pushback, which not every scientist that is on the outskirts today is right. Probably most of them are not right, but the leading edge of science, which is relevant because science is just a predictive tool. Like that's the whole point of science, because if you can't use it to predict what's going to happen, it has no use. But it's always often going to be someone that is not respected at first for the idea, and then slowly the idea gets accepted. So that's probably why it's not the thing everyone's talking about, because they're probably like, no, it's not going to play out like that.
And also, it's like these things are international bestsellers.
Okay, so yeah, people
read it, or they buy it.
Or the people that read it don't run their mouth all day. No. They're reading other books, so they're not going on Twitter and making the conversation about it. When we talk about what the world is talking about, it's a very small percentage of people who are not happy because they're not doing what they love, and they're staring at a screen all day, and they're being subjected to violence and injustice and just rudeness across the board. Not all of it, but you can feel the tone of different platforms as we take out that black rectangle and click on the bird or the F or the little camera or the ghost or the P or the T or whatever stupid icon that we're obsessed with now. It's the Twitter one is one of the main like just people yelling at each other.
It's weird.
It is a pigskin.
I still tweet wordplays, and often when I do, I'm left with a feeling afterwards of like, it's fine. Nothing's wrong about doing what I did, but I'm like not using Twitter for what it's used for now. Now it's like a place to shout.
Yeah.
It used to be
That's good though, because you're adding a vote of saying like, this is what I want this platform to represent for me.
I like that.
I just put the same picture on it. I don't say. Occasionally, I will hold back if it's a big shooting or something. I won't make a thing like that.
Right.
Yeah, because most of it is about you're the problem. How do you get out of your own way? I'm basically just articulating feelings of resistance I have towards doing the work that I want to do, because I would love to just draw all day, make music all day, make jokes all day, like play games all day, make games all day. That sounds like fun to me. I could do that just all for the rest of my life. But then I get when you witness injustice in the world, you feel shame of like, no, I should go work at a soup kitchen or go give my body to science or go to the when I won't actually do any of that stuff. I might go to the but I won't put down everything that I enjoy doing and do what I think the world expects of me, when really the world doesn't expect anything of me. I think that if you're just not being mean to people, you're already doing great, even if you don't do stuff. If you're not out there with a shovel and something. I think if you're just sticking around at home and watching TV and not hurting anyone and not writing shitty things on the internet and not calling people names and not voting for Republicans in office or something, then you're doing great. Just sit at home idle. That's like, when you look at the average of it, that's pretty good. Active, productive people can be very dangerous.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Not always, but this is just kind of borrowing from, Bertrand Russell's In Praise of Idleness. And how a lot of bad to the world has come from productive people.
Right.
We're overproducing, overmaking, over everything. A lot of noise pollution, a lot of regular pollution, a lot of...
This is interesting. I'd like to read on idleness.
Sure, I've got it over on the shelf in the other room. I'll give it to you.
Nice. Thanks.
In praise of idleness. In praise of idleness. It's kind of cheeky, and there's parts of it that's slow, but it's, early 20th century British philosopher. So, of course, it's going to be a little, waxing on. I do enjoy waxing on. That's how it sounds.
If I can change it a little bit.
Change what?
The topic.
Oh, please do. If I haven't already 100 times.
There's a rhyme I wrote on that album I was talking about, the Seven Spiders record. And it was, I say something like, I'm talking about, it's like sort of a Here's Who I Am manifesto kind of song. And I rhymed, no Ave Maria, just have a Nagila and agave tequila. And I remember I wrote it and I was like, this is like the first, like this is really good and clever and funny. And it's, I guess, besides just like patting myself on the back for writing a rhyme that I still like, that's okay to pat yourself on the back every now and then.
Of course it is.
Have we talked about that really wise thing Shane said about this, our mutual friend Shane Moss?
About patting yourself on the back?
No, the opposite, about beating up on yourself.
It might lead to the same thing I'm thinking about, but are you talking about the when he says, if I'm supposed to be some divine being of light or something, or if I'm supposed to be a competent member of society, like I'm a failure, but if I'm a monkey, because he's talking about we don't come from monkeys. He likes thinking that technically we don't come from monkeys, we come from apes. But it's like it sounds funnier as saying monkey. So he's like, if I come from a monkey, I'm a really good monkey. I'm killing it if I'm a monkey.
That's great.
What were you going to say?
One time we were just talking. He wasn't even making jokes. And we were talking about beating up on oneself. And he was like, it's so weird. He was like, I don't want to do it. But he's like, every kindergarten kid knows you're not supposed to punch other people, right? And he's like, that's like the first thing you learn at school. Don't hit other people. And he's like, but we beat ourselves up, quote unquote, all the time. And then he pauses And then he just looks back and he looks at me in my memory of it. And he goes, when you're a kid, it's do unto others as you would have them do to you. When you're adult, it's treat yourself like you'd know to treat other people. And I was like, wow, Shane, that's amazing.
Yeah, it switches.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a wise moment from our friend.
I like that a lot. Shout out to Shane. Here We Are podcast. Check out my episode. Check out, or have you done an episode? No, you haven't done an episode because you're not a scientist.
I'm not a scientist.
But I'm not a scientist either. But I did an episode just because I mixed the audio and did the website for a while.
Check that theme song out, though.
Oh, yeah. Zach is the theme song of HereWeArePodcast.com. Here we
I
are.
think
Now
Mike
I'm
is, right?
You both are.
Are my vocals on it?
Yeah. You haven't heard it?
I mean, I have, but it's been a while. Mike and I reached a phase in our podcast theme song writing process where I send him like a demo into my voice memos, and then he just like does it, and it's the best. I don't have to do any performing of it.
He's good. I didn't know for the longest time. I just kind of slowly knew he was a musician.
Oh yeah,
over time.
he's had
I'm
like
sure
violin lessons forever.
Yeah, me. Yeah, I think you were there one night at Drennan's. Our friend Drennan Davis. Also, we had church or Keep It Real Wednesdays or whatever the name.
It's happening again Wednesday, by the way. Do you know that?
This Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't know that. But I'm sure I'll know.
I'm sure
you
will.
I think I get the text the day of, or I haven't checked my phone today. But yeah, I think I'm still part of the friend group.
You're part of the friend group.
Yeah.
So just on the Ave Maria, Hava Nagila, Agave Tequila, it's cool that like your bar is still. I'm thinking about a thing that I was writing just today, and I wrote something that I like think is good. I rhyme diddly squat and my flow, magma. My flow is triply hot, and then I say something like every glob of spittle that Ridley Scott dripped from the critters that Ridley fought. And it's the same. I mean, it's just like,
Do you throw some Sam Tripoli snot in there somewhere? Do you ever use a rhyming dictionary, or is that seen as, I know it used to be seen as cheating, but nowadays it's like, what, I'm not going to pull out my phone and just check so I can get that like last piece of it out? Like, why wouldn't you? Sometimes
I will just use it to make sure there's not some obvious thing that I'm missing. Like today I'm working on a specific thing, and I had rhymes that were, it's music critic, and so far it rhymes with too Semitic, and I don't have the next, it needs like a third piece, and I was like, what? And I thought maybe I'll look on Rhyme Zone just to make sure there's not some obvious overlook. But the most interesting rhymes are going to be ones that aren't findable in a rhyming dictionary.
Yeah,
because you have to combine two things that haven't been combined.
Yeah, and it's not word. It's it's like
syllables and vowels and all this stuff.
Or and even if you cheat a little bit, it's okay if you, I don't know, make it, because didn't Eminem rhyme orange a bunch of times?
Slant rhymes and
slant rhymes is what they're called?
Yeah, slant rhymes.
I'm so white. I'm not even white, but I'm white rap-wise, but I'm black guitar and bass-wise, I think, and drum-wise, but I'm not.
Liminal space.
I love your freestyling, and I love your ability, and I like, there's some like hip-hop that I'm into, but I don't have the same way that you're not like, oh, I got to learn how to play those guitars there. It's not like, get those things away from me either. It's more like you probably just don't care that much. Is that correct?
And I like the stuff that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're more word oriented. That's what comes out of you naturally.
Right.
I feel more string instrument. Like that's what I want to express myself through. And words feel like kind of chore. And needless to say that, why am I doing a podcast? Because I like talking to people.
You like to talk. You're a good talker.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Natural.
And maybe that'll change. Maybe one day I'll be like, you know what? I really love hip hop so much right now, and that's what I want to do. I want to just freestyle, and I want to like write rhymes, and I want to get good at that. But right now, it just doesn't have it's not in the top runners of.
It's kind of interesting. Like I borrowed currently I have a copy of a photo editing program that you bequeathed to me. And bought for me. Mm-hmm. And I also have a MIDI keyboard, and I need to just have like basic functionality and like playing piano and not even basic functionality. I need to be able to like sort of and like push the boulder like a millimeter so that someone can like see that I got it started and take it the rest of the way from there. It'd be funny if I like you're not, I mean, you know, like I'm trying to think what could I offer you in return, and it would be like, I don't know, rap lessons. It's so funny and weird to think about.
You bought me lunch and you're doing my podcast, so that's payment back for it.
That's true, but I just am trying to think about an in-kind, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and it's also part of the answer that I'm sure must be how you feel when talking about this stuff to me is like if you want to do it okay enough, then like you can do it. And if you really want to like get great at it, like you can devote the rest of your life to it and will never feel like you got, you know, like as far as you wanted to get.
Yeah. And
you know,
it's part of that involves not being able to call it at the moment, if that makes sense. Like no matter how good you are, you can't always be on your game and always flow well. And that's what it is. It's flow is the ability to act into the natural process of things rather than second guessing yourself. It's literally just coming out of you. It's not like you know what the thing you're going to say in 10 seconds is, but you still do it and you still do it again. And then when you do it,
sure.
Like much like with anything, like with surfing, it's not like I'm going to move my foot to the left and then to the right and that it's acting into the now. But when you're doing it with concepts and rhymes and it's about you, like an experience you had or something, then that's just magic.
It's cool.
It's no different than, or of course it's different than, but it's of the same nature of when it's a really good guitar solo or drum solo and you're hearing exactly what that person's feeling at that moment, and then other people hear it and maybe if it appeals to them, they think, oh yeah, I feel like that too, or I felt like that, and I'm not alone anymore, and we're all one, and we're all individuals, and everything is good rather than this dystopia that we're sold so that we buy more stuff. I say it's not all bad news, but news is always going to be more fear-based news because fear drives you more to buy products, and the news is, and there is a lot it's bad to say it now because there is just a lot of bad news all the time, but what I'm trying to say by that is we don't see a lot of good news.
Yes, I agree with that.
You have to search for good news. You have to go out of your way to find it. It doesn't come to your door. Bad news comes straight to your door. And it goes back to the whole Sapiens thing is that we remember negative stuff more because it's if that bush is actually a lion or whatever it is, it's better to be afraid of the bush than to say, no, that's a bush, and then it's a lion, and then it comes and gets you. There was one more thing I wanted to say on that, but it's stupid. It's gone now. Not it's stupid, it's gone now.
I see.
I'm stupid. It's gone now.
Yeah.
See, I got to insult myself and the thing. It's stupid, I'm stupid, and it's gone now because I'm stupid and I called it stupid.
You know what's cool about this? My microphone is like skinny and vertical, and yours is like a ball, a sphere. Yeah, the blue snowball and the whatever that mic is. Yeah, an MXL USB mic. And it's like a 1 and a 0. Oh, or like, it's also like R2-D2 and C-3PO, or Laurel and Hardy, or Jeff and Larry. You know what I mean? It is. I'm so glad I used that and not this in-between one, which I'm holding in my hand, a kind of fat circular microphone. I'm really excited that I am discovering that connection between ones and zeros and like C-3PO and R2-D2. Yeah. You know? Like, had you never thought of that? No. Like a tall, thin one and a little cute round one. Yeah, and zeros aren't round, but you know what I mean. And the most recent one is literally a ball. It's not even a BB trash can with a ball on it. It's the actual ball. Right. BB-8 or something. Yeah, that's his name. Do you like Star Wars? I feel like about it like I do about guitar. I see it entertains me some, but it isn't like rap to me. Yeah. For instance, or the stuff that I'm really into. Yeah, I love I love like psychological thrillers. Those to me are like, whoa, that's the kind of movie I want to watch. Is Get Out a psychological thriller? Sure. It's not a comedy. That's a joke on it's in the Oscar running for comedy. The movie Get Out. Yeah, because it's all politics. You know, they don't think they're going to win it if they put it in any other category. So they technically found a way to put it in comedy because maybe, I don't know, they say a few
like zingers
Yeah.
occasionally. Or
And
I don't
'cause
know.
Jordan Peele was on Comedy Central.
Yeah. I guess Lil Rel is funny.
Oh, yeah,
in it.
really
He's the
funny.
comic relief.
But he's
in
a
it.
comic relief.
Yeah. And,
Interesting. I hope it wins everything. It was great.
And when him and Allison, well, whatever, I don't want to spoil it. Go see, everyone's seen Get Out, but if you haven't seen Get Out, go see Get Out.
Get out of your house.
Get out of your
and
house.
Go see it.
Except it's not at theaters anymore, so watch it in your house.
Oh yeah, that's right. You
Yeah, stay in.
get
Watch
out of your
stay
chair.
in.
Get the remote.
Stay in.
Should I freestyle for a minute to end?
Yes.
Are we at an appropriate ending place?
We're a very appropriate ending place.
Do you want to do something too, so it's not just me rapping into a mic?
Oh yeah, let's pull this up, see if we can get just super raw.
Yeah.
Like the way that Keith Richards played acoustic guitar through a really bad microphone so that it sounded distorted and it got just that right sound that he wanted. Let's see if I can get a little live beat for you and whatever. It's but if people are listening this far in, they're
You're in.
already hooked. Like
Yeah.
we could be silent for 10 seconds and
They'd tolerate it.
yeah. Let's try it once just as a meditative, like let's just do 10
Okay.
seconds of just silence. Like don't
Okay.
even have a thought and go. That was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, you almost didn't want to come out of it, did you? But you
No.
had to. You got to pay to get the extra. Tune in next time, but let's see what we can do here.
Yo. Ones and O's. Tons of flows. R2D2 C3POs. It's Star Wars. Got more bars than I ever had before. I want to explore. Explore. Next, you're up. I gotta get this microphone torn up. Torn up. I put an N in it. I freestyle at the end for a minute. Get in it with the ball-shaped mic when I'm rocking it. Non-stop is how I'm topping it. Talking it. Clocking it. Timing it. Rhyming it. And stuff on top the mind. It's me. Zachary. J-A-M to the E to the S. James is my middle name, my friends, and I spit these hip-hop flames at the end of the podcast, episode 1. High bar for every other one to live up to. Got a big fuck you to the guests that follow me. Nah, just joking. Comedy, you get it, that's my trade. I am off the top with my blades sharp. I don't play harp, but my friend Ramin plays bass. I just stay up in the place with the mic up in my face, and I rock to the top and I rock to the bass. B-A-S-E, yes indeed, Zachary, and I'm off this beat. Peace. Whee!
Hell yeah. Zach Sherwin, everyone. Tune in next time. Thanks for listening. Any last words?
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Goodbye.